Good morning, mathematicians. So we're working through Module 6 right now. Today is, not Lesson 2. Today is Lesson 3. So in our first two lessons, we reviewed some flat shapes. So today, we are going to continue working through shapes, but we are going to transition a little bit. But before we start that, there is a couple warm-up activities we're going to do. Plus, there is 2 videos today, so you're going to watch this and the other video. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. So to start, we're going to do our 2 fluency templates together. So make sure you grab, here I'll show you closer, fluency template, Lesson 3 fluency template number 1, and Lesson 3 fluency template number 2. And for this activity, we are going to be using some colors, so you might need to grab some crayons or markers. I'll scooch it closer so you can see better. So you need red, orange, yellow, purple, green, and blue. So grab those supplies and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the adding first, which is page 48. So I'm going to get us ready to go. It says add, color the blocks using the code for the total. So if you can look in this gray box, that's our clue box, our key. So 1 is red, 2 is orange, 3 is yellow, 4 is green, 5 is blue. So any of these adding problems, the answer you don't write, you color either red, green, orange, yellow, or blue, depending on the answer. And if it's 1, you color it red. If the answer is 2, you color it orange. If the answer is 3, yellow, 4, green, 5, blue. So let's work through this all together. So the first problem is 0 plus 1. So if you want to write it, of course you're more than welcome. 0 plus 1 equals 1. So then I look up here, 1 you color red. So you color this box red. So it's just a different way to practice our math skills with adding. Okay, let's do the next one. 1 plus 1 equals 2. You color 2 orange. Okay, next problem. 2 plus 1, 3. You color it yellow. Okay, 3 plus 1 equals 4. If the answer is 4, you color it green. Okay, last one in the top row. 4 plus 1 equals 5. And if the answer is 5, you color it blue. So we did the whole top row together. Now I want you to keep working on it. So 0 plus 2 equals 2. And you color 2 orange. Okay? 1 plus 2 equals 3. You color it yellow. Okay? 2 plus 2 equals 4. You color this one green. And the last one in this row, 3 plus 2 equals 5, and you color it blue. So remember, math has a lot of patterns, so you might start to see a pattern developing here with the colors. So keep going. There's 6 more problems. Pause the video and finish up that sheet, or you can finish it up after the video. And I'm going to start showing you the next one. So this one is a very, very similar paper. It looks very similar. It has a key just like the other one. It has boxes and math problems in it just like the other one. But it is a little bit different. It is subtraction. So this was the first one we did that we started was add. The second one we're doing is subtracting, but it has the same key. So if the answer is 0, you color it purple this time. If the answer is 1, you color it red. If the answer is 2, you color it orange. If the answer is 3, you color it yellow. If the answer is 4, you color it green. And if the answer is 5, you color it blue. So I won't do the whole one just like I didn't do the whole adding one, but we'll do a couple rows as the subtraction together so you can get the hang of it. So 1 minus 0 equals 1. So if it's 1, you color it red. This time maybe I'll go down. So the next problem underneath it, it says 1 minus 1. So 1 take away 1 equals 0. So that is a purple square. First time we used purple so far. Purple wasn't on the adding one, only subtracting. Okay, so now we have 2 minus 0 equals, so 2 take away 0 equals 2. You're left with 2. 0 is nothing, remember? So it's taking away nothing. So 2 minus 0 equals 2, and 2 is orange. So the second one in the top row is orange. Now let's go underneath it. 2 take away 1, 2 take away 1 equals 1, exactly. And 1 is red. Okay. Now let's do the last one. 2 minus 2, 2 minus 2 equals 0. And 0 is purple. Okay, let's do one more going down. So 3 minus 0 equals 3, and you color 3 yellow. So if you notice, the whole top row is minus taking away 0. The whole second row is taking away 1, subtracting 1. The next row, the third row, is subtracting 2, which is taking away 2. Remember, subtracting is taking away. It's minusing. It's making things smaller, less than, fewer. Those are all the words we've used to associate with it. The next row, we didn't get this far yet, would be minus 3. Then you have a couple minus 4s, and the very last one is minus 5. So working on all different problems. So 3 minus 1 equals 2. And 2 is orange. 3 minus 2 equals 1, which is red. Maybe you're starting to see a pattern develop on this sheet also, like on our adding one. 3 minus 3 equals, yes, 0. And if you remember, purple is what color we identify 0 with. So keep going. There's the last two rows, which are 4 minus 0, 4 minus 1, 4 minus 2, 4 minus 3, 4 minus 4. And the last one is 5 take away 0, 5 take away 1, 5 take away 2, 5 take away 3, 5 take away 4, and 5 take away 5. So that's a great, these are two great papers to practice our adding, subtracting, and also practice reading our colors and using our brain to think. I can't just write the answer. I need to remember what color I color the box. So there's a lot going on in this these two activities for you to really figure it out. Okay, let's scooch it back a little bit and continue with our lesson. So as I said, the last two lessons that started off our Module 6 focused on flat shapes. So I'm just going to remind you of some activities we did in class using flat shapes with our geoboards. So remember, geoboards had the little pegs, and we used rubber bands, and we sometimes worked with a partner, sometimes worked on our own to make shapes. And it's a little bit tricky. You're using rubber bands. You could get snapped a little bit and trying to make it correctly. But what shape did I create there? Yes, a triangle. We reviewed a triangle, 3 corners, 3 sides. This one happens to be an equal triangle, right? Each side is equal. But I did remind you guys that not all triangles have equal sides. Like a ramp is not necessarily 3 equal sides. Okay, so now I'm going to create a different shape. Let's see. Oh, yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, what shape is this? Yes, a square. And remember what makes a square special is like the equal triangle I showed you first, it has 4 equal sides, 4 corners. And remember, triangles and squares are both flat. Okay, so now let's make, from my square, I can easily stretch it and make another 4-sided shape. Who thinks they know what shape I'm creating right now? Bing, 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 you got it, a rectangle. A rectangle is like a stretched out square. You could put it up and down, vertical, you could do it sideways, horizontal. It still has 4 sides, 4 corners, but it has a long, 2 long sides in this case, and 2 short sides. Or 2 equal and 2 equal, which make 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4, so that's a rectangle. Now, those are like pretty straightforward, easy shapes to make. Then we can get to our more complicated shapes. Let's see if I can make a more complicated shape. No guarantees. This is tricky, right? Okay, so I made this shape. Count the sides with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is a 6-sided shape that we've learned a lot about? Yes, a hexagon. Now I had wanted to make a pentagon, so let me switch it really fast. Boop. So I just took one side off, and now let's count the sides. Starting at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now that's a pentagon. I just took one side off. Pentagon is 5. Penta is 5. Then watch, I can just make another side by pulling that one back down, and I turn that bottom into 2 sides now. And that is now a hexagon. Hexa is for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can turn it sideways. And remember, we learned that there's different ways to make a hexagon, not only one way. Let's see if I can make a different one. Yep, I think this should work. So starting at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, and think in your mind, we've talked about this before, sometimes shapes put together, if you stick them together, mush them together, can create other shapes. So this one could be like a rectangle, something different on top. Remember when we had our hexagon this way? This one's a really easy way to see it. Look, that's a triangle on top, a triangle on the bottom, and a rectangle in the middle. Those are all shapes we're very familiar with, and put together, smushed together, they can make a hexagon. Now I know we've talked briefly about all those other shapes, like a septagon is 7 sides, a heptagon is 8 sides, a nonagon is 9 sides. We could have kept going with this and played around with some of those bigger sides. Okay. So that was just a little review of our flat shapes, and we worked on those geoboards quite a few times throughout the year. Now the next thing I want to do, and this is what also the other video is going to help you with, is just reviewing some of our solid shapes. So for example, I'll pull this one out. It's a shape we're pretty familiar with. You can turn it this way. You can turn it this way. Who remembers the name of this shape? Yeah, awesome. It's a cone. You might see these a lot this summer if you get a lot of ice cream cones. If you're driving around and you see some construction, maybe you see it this way and it's like a safety cone to tell people which way to go or drive or to block off spaces. It doesn't necessarily roll very well like a ball, right? Because it's not circular, like a sphere. It has a face. Remember, we call the flat sides faces. So it has one face on either the top or the bottom, depending which way you're holding it. And this part is kind of like a triangle, right? It's similar shape to a triangle. But remember, these are solid shapes, and solid shapes are made up of flat shapes to give it some shape and dimension. So we see a circle on the bottom, and we kind of see a triangle shape together. So together, that makes a cone. We just talked about a sphere, which I don't actually have an example of a sphere, but I know you guys all know a sphere is a ball. So think of a soccer ball, a basketball, a tennis ball, a golf ball, a volleyball. All those types of balls that I can think of, a baseball, are all sphere shaped. The globe, if you have a globe at your house, we have a globe in our classroom, that is a sphere shape. The earth is a sphere shape, okay? So it's round. Now a sphere doesn't have any faces, right? Because it doesn't have a flat side. It doesn't have any edges like our cone did. Now speaking of other shapes with edges, a shape like this, or a shape like this, which is very similar. This is our cube, which we've talked a lot about. We've used it all the time. If you have a dice set at home, I think I sent some dice home with you guys. A dice is a cube shape. Now, a cube has lots of faces. Faces, faces, faces. Lots of edges, edges, edges. And now this one, it looks similar to a cube. But remember, a cube has square faces all around. And this one has square and square, but that's not a square. What shape is that? A rectangle, yes. So this shape is connected to a flat rectangle. So this is a rectangular prism, which is a fancy shape. So we talked about cones, we talked about spheres, we talked about cubes, we talked about rectangular prisms. Oh, and I want to make sure we don't forget this one. I'm looking for a bigger one. I don't see it. But what's this shape? Yeah, a cylinder. You could probably find a lot of cylinders in your kitchen or even your refrigerator or your pantry. A lot of canned items like maybe beans, garbanzo beans, black beans, kidney beans, corn, some fruit, some vegetables, even like mayonnaise jars, all come in a cylinder shape. So a cylinder has a circle face and a circle face. It has edges. So that's where we're going to stop with that. And there's more. We talked about other solid shapes. We talked about triangular prisms. We talked about hexagonal prisms. We talked about triangular pyramids. That's like a pyramid shape. I know when you sometimes learn about Passover, you learn about Egypt a little bit and the pyramids that are there. That is a solid shape made up of triangles. We talked about square pyramids. That's when they have a square on the bottom. We talked about rectangular prisms. So we're going to work a little bit more on our solid shapes in the next couple lessons. And I just want to quickly show you the problem set. So this problem set requires scissors and some tape. And you're going to get the chance to, on this one, make a cylinder. And on the second one, make a cube. So you might need some help with this if you're doing this independently. You might need some parent support. So it's important that when you cut this out, do not cut the circles off the rectangle. So look at, right now these are flat shapes. We have a flat circle, and a flat rectangle. How is this going to create a solid shape? I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. So first I'm cutting, and remember cutting is an important fine motor skill, so please try to cut your best. Cut out, not in, thumb up. Use your helper hand to help you hold the paper and move it around. And just follow right along the dotted line. But do not cut the circles off the rectangle. So it's going to make a funny sort of rectangle circle monster. Okay, I'm almost done, but take your time. Remember, we cut at different speeds. So if you're not done cutting yet, that's okay. Just pause it and finish cutting. So this is what it should look like. So it's still connected. I have my rectangle in the middle. I have a circle on top, circle on the bottom, or if I turn it this way, I have it on the side and the side. And now you would curl it like this. So now you can see, I don't have any tape with me, but now you can see what shape it made. And you just need to put a little piece of tape on the edge and a little piece of tape on the edge. Ta-da! So now you just made a cylinder. Now the next one is also, this one is going to make a cube. So same thing. Don't cut out individual boxes. I want one big T shape, a lowercase T shape. So if you've finished your cylinder and you're ready to practice cutting some more with this one, make one big T shape. All the flat squares are together. And this will really help you see how a cube is made up of a bunch of flat squares. You could even cut, after you cut, count all of the squares. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. So 6 squares is what makes a cube. Now you fold, so see, one big piece. I didn't cut them individually. You fold right on these dashed lines, all these folded, all these squares, and then you kind of manipulate it like so, and ta-da! You put a little tape and a little tape, and you just made a square. Okay, that definitely might be a little bit tricky, so if you need some help, you should definitely ask for some help. I really want you to practice cutting though. And then afterwards, there's a couple easy sheets for you to do. It says draw a line from the flat shape, flat circle, flat square, flat triangle, to an object that has a face with that flat shape. So remember, the face is maybe part of these solid shapes. The face of a cone is a circle. A face of a cylinder is a circle. A face of a cube is a square. So what flat shaped face do you see in all of these? And draw a line connecting. Draw something that is a cylinder. So look around your house, find something that's cylinder shaped. I suggest you go to the kitchen, but maybe you can find stuff around your bedroom, your living room, anything that's cylinder shaped. Okay? Circle the flat shape you can see in a cylinder. Draw something that is a cube. Look around for a cube shape in your house. Circle the flat shape you can see in a cube. Do you see a hexagon on a cube, or do you see a square on a cube? Now look around for something that you see that's a cone shape in your house. Maybe a birthday hat, maybe an ice cream cone, maybe a safety cone. What cones do you have? And then practice drawing some shapes down here. And that's it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow for lesson 4.